Hi everyone, hope you're doing great. I am Cornelius Adeoyin, as I would say, and I'm on a journey of empowering the world through faith, tech, leadership, and entrepreneurship. And I want to say welcome to this week's session of Cornelius on entrepreneurship. And there's a very important topic that I'm considering, and that's the restart mindset. And the reason why we're doing is to look at the ability to begin again, right? Because that's one of the greatest advantage that you have as an entrepreneur. Ability for you to restart again. You're failing forward, or you're able to take stock of what worked, what did not work, what can I improve, right? But many of the times, because we failed, because we started something and it did not come to fruition, we lack the morale. Sometimes we lose the morale to restart again, to push forward again. And this is one thing you must learn on your entrepreneurship journey, that again and again you need to restart something, you need to improve on something. You need to put in the grit, you need to put in the work, right? And one of the most dangerous stories, that people tell about entrepreneurship is that when you build successful businesses, they are built through, you just having one brilliant idea that you execute perfectly from the very beginning. Our social media noise reinforces that. We see, people funding, investment, people are launching products, there's award everywhere. And, you can see track record of rapid growth, and people successfully exiting, and they are taking away huge sum of money, but we rarely see on the outside the abandoned ideas. We rarely see the failed products that they launched before they launched that one. We rarely see the rejected proposal. So the businesses that that pivoted into 3 or 4 times before really finding that product, they do not show us, right? We do not see the people, the entrepreneurs who quietly start over again. They're exhausted, but they start over again, pushing funds into it again. You see, you must understand that entrepreneurship is not a straight line. Is a continuous process of learning, relearning, adapting, rebuilding, and you beginning again and again and again till you really find that one method. Not losing your vision, not doing many things, but that you have found. Putting your effort to see that it becomes what is on the tablet of your heart, on your mind, and you're able to execute it the same way you intend to execute it. Because of this, continuous learning, adapting, rebuilding, and entrepreneurship journey of beginning again, many of us still approach business, many of us, yes, approach entrepreneurship with a subtly fragile mindset, right? We believe that if one attempt fails, then we are not meant to be an entrepreneur. We are not meant to adapt that app. We are not meant to adapt that business. We are not meant to adapt that ventures, right? But the reality is that failure is not the opposite of entrepreneurship. Failure is one of the recurring experiences, right? Is one of the things that defines an entrepreneur. The defining characteristics of a great entrepreneur is not that they did not experience setback. The great characteristics of an entrepreneur is that they know when to restart, right, without losing their vision. You push something out, it did not give you did not give you the volume of notice, volume of visibility that you expect it to give, right? But you know when to withdraw, right? There's a proverb that in Yoruba that says "Mojamo salamo akinkanju loju ogun," right? You must know when to retreat. You must know when to go back to the drawing board and draw again, right? The future of entrepreneurship belongs to people who have the restart mindset. People that can go again, no matter what anybody want to say. You own your vision and you're ready to push again. No matter the failure, you are ready to push again, right? When a business fails, most of us immediately think that they failed because of money, they failed because of investment, revenue, they failed because of their customers, These are real things that also cause failure, but they are really the most they are really the most costly things that when an entrepreneur fails, that they lose, right? When an entrepreneur fails, the confidence, if you don't start a day, right, your confidence begins to disappear, begins to depreciate. Your ability and confidence in yourself to make decisions, to make decisions that is supposed to be quick, becomes slower. You now begin to reduce your risk tolerance. You begin to doubt yourself sometimes in place of your conviction, right? Entrepreneurs, if you fail, you begin to now question not just your business, you begin to question yourself. And this is where most journey in entrepreneurship quietly end. Not because the idea is not viable, but because the entrepreneur, the person who is the brain behind it, stop believing that they can build again. The most successful people, the most successful entrepreneur protect something more valuable than capital, and that is the ability to begin again. That when there's no capital, when there's no money, you have the grit to push out again, because money can be, you can raise money again, you can rebuild the product again, you can change the market. But if an entrepreneur loses the courage to restart, if an entrepreneur loses the courage to start again, the growth becomes impossible. No matter how slow it is, if you have the courage to grow, to go again, if you have the courage to push again, right, you will definitely be able to come into growth. But if you lose that courage to restart, growth will definitely look like a far-fetched thing for you. All right. And see, you must understand this, that restarting is not that you are repeating, right? Many people misunderstand when we say restart. Restarting does not mean that you are doing exactly the same thing again, the same way you do it, and hoping for a different outcome. No, that is repetition. Restarting is that you come to a place of intelligent renewal. You've brooded on it. You've mapped out a different strategy. You've looked at what works. You became more disciplined. You look at more strategy that you can, use and push it. If every failure, that you have tried to do and did not work, if it did not teach you anything, then it will become more expensive. You are trying to restart, right? You must gain an understanding of what did not work in what failed, and be able to iterate what you are starting again. Entrepreneur can should learn from every setback. You must be able to learn from every setback, and it's ready for you to start from zero if you are learning from setback, because you already have an experience. You are starting from experience. You are starting from, oh, I know this cannot work, and okay, if this does not work, what is the next thing that I should do? So you are starting your experiences over time, they compound, right? This is the reason why many entrepreneurs fail to restart or struggle to restart, right? Because restarting sounds inspiring when you are saying it. It sounds cliche. Oh, restart, you have to restart. It sounds cliche. But in practice, if you really want to restart again, it's emotionally demanding, because there are people out there that have seen you started. They are now seeing you relaunching again. They are seeing you rebranding. They are seeing you. See, one reason of this insecurity is identity, because many of us we attach our identity to the success of one single business. Many of us focus on what is not working, and we neglect many other things that are working. See, when your business struggle, you conclude that you are a failure. No, it's the business that failed, it's the product that failed, it's the strategy that failed, right? And you are capable of learning from what has failed. So you must separate, for you to be able to restart again, you must separate your identity from the outcome, right? If you want to be a long-term entrepreneur, you must separate who you are from the outcome of what you are doing, right? And this is not saying you should not take responsibility, but you should know that whatever it is, there is more to me. I can learn, I can improve, right? Whether it succeeds, whether it does not succeed, there's room for improvement, right? You are worrying about what others will think, right? What if they see me, just like what I said earlier, what if they see me start over again? I've promised them something, I did not fulfill it. What if they think I failed? See, most people who build remarkable businesses, they needed to restart more times than the public will ever know. They needed to restart because progress is often requires the humility for you to begin again without needing to defend what has happened. That is progress. You need to be able to push out, right? That humility to push out and begin again without explaining what happened in the past, how you failed. You have to go there, right? Another reason is emotional. You are exhausted emotionally because building business demands a lot of strategy. You put your all into it, and when things fall apart, you often looks like, oh, you cannot take immediate action, right? And when we say restart, it does not mean that you now start faster again. Sometimes it means that you recover from what has happened and you're able to position well, right? Think clearly again on what is next to do. All right. So you heal, you recover well from that, and you're able to push. You can give yourself some time, you can give yourself some breaks, right? For you to be able to push with much more energy. But don't let what people will say, don't let all of those things, don't be drained emotionally because you need to start again, right? One of the greatest strength in business, one of the greatest strength in entrepreneurship is stubbornness, is doggedness. It is adaptability. Many of us as entrepreneurs will become emotionally attached to, the first solution that we build, the first stuff that we build. But customers are not buying your attachment. Customers are not buying your emotions. They are buying value that you are giving. The market will evolve. The technology that is being used will change, right? And definitely over time, the people who are consuming it, the customers' behavior also will shift because the economic reality will always fluctuate. Businesses that survive are those businesses. An entrepreneur that survive over time is an entrepreneur that know how to adjust, you know what to tweak without abandoning your purpose, without abandoning your core. So you know how to adapt, you know how to follow AI trend, you know how to follow agents, you know how to tweak those things to fit into your purpose. And this is an important, distinction between uh your mission and your method. So your mission is to invade, and be able to, fund the slums, or people who are not going to school, do a free school and all of those. But your method can be the same, but can be different. You did it this method the first time, it didn't work. Use another method the second time. Your mission will remain constant, but your method nearly never evolve repeatedly. Your method, most times when you are building again, when you are, are restarting, always change. And this is what you must know as an entrepreneur, right? That when you are restarting does not mean that you are necessarily using the same method, but your mission is the same, right? And this is how I believe that you can build a restart mindset. The restart mindset is not developed during success, it's not developed when you are successful. It is developed in those moments when you are uncertain that I know this thing will work, but even if it does not work, I'll start again. I'll keep at it, right? It's a mindset that begins by accepting, the iterative process that if this thing fail, it can become better, and I'm learning what I should not do, right? Every of your business, everything that you do, every version of your every of the business that you do, the first version is always a prototype of what you're doing. So you must learn, you must see that nothing is final. If every customer, every customer interaction, every user on your app, they produce insight. Every mistake produced with information, right? Every of the challenge that you have exposes the weakness that can be strengthened, the place that you are deficient in knowledge that you can learn. So you must, as an entrepreneur, you must embrace continuous improvement because becoming increasing, if you don't embrace improvement, for you to be a successful entrepreneur will be difficult. Not because there is no setback, right? Not because the setback will be much more than how it used to be, rather, but because you don't have the capacity to be able to bear it and navigate through those setbacks. Because every setback is definitely a tool for your development, it's part of your development. So these are, as an entrepreneur, these are the questions you must ask yourself instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Why did I fail? You must be able to gain clarity and ask what exactly happened. See, separate how you are feeling from the exact fact that is there. Separate the fact from your emotion. What exactly happened? Why did this thing fail? And list them out. Know exactly why it failed. Maybe team members are not doing their work. Maybe you as a leader, you are not energizing your team members. Then you must ask. Then ask what assumptions do you need to prove wrong. When you don't understand, or you don't test assumptions, you don't test what people, the feedback, right, you will not be able to build a reasonable business. You'll not be able to build a thriving business, right? Then yes, it has failed, but you must be able to look at it and say, okay, even though it failed, what uh, we know that it failed, but what exactly became successful in the midst of this failure, even though it failed? You must be able to look at what was the strength of that model, even though it failed. Then you ask yourself, you ask your organization, you look into it, what capacity must you develop for you to make another attempt? What must you know? What course must you take? Which mentor do you need to sit under for you to make another attempt? Because as I said, every setback is an opportunity for you to grow, right? And the last of it is, what does the next version look like? How will it look like in the next version? The goal is not for you, when we say restart, the goal is not for you to go back or repeat the same thing that you did, right? The goal is for you to build a stronger future. The goal is for you to build what works, not to go back to what you obviously know that is not working, right? And you must be resilient. Many people think that resilience is a personality trait, right? It is not. It is a business capability. You must be able to build resilience. The market will reward you as an entrepreneur when you remain in the game for a long time, enough to improve, right? There's no the It is rare, right? I would not want to say there's not. It is rare for business to come and become extraordinary, become super extraordinary overnight. Most of the extraordinary businesses that we see, they became extraordinary because they were iterating. Okay, this worked, this did not work, this worked. They became extraordinary through refining. They are able to adapt. They were persisted, guided by learning. Oh, this is not working. What do we need to put in place? Every restart will increase your probability of success. And quote me anywhere, every restart, every relaunch, every pushing again will increase every time you restart. It increases your probability of success. But if you don't restart, you just settle for less, right? So you must be able to learn intentionally what did not work and how can you improve on the system that you have already. So as you're going this week and you've listened to this and you see the videos, you see the post, right? I want you to do three things. And number one is that you construct a restart audit. Identify areas in your business or in your career where you are avoiding a fresh start because of disappointment, because you are afraid, because you are proud, right? Write them down and be honest. Look at it. Okay, what am I not doing well? What have I tried to do in my career? What have I tried to do in my businesses that fail? I'm afraid to go again because of disappointment. Write them down. Be honest with yourself. Nobody is looking at it for you. It's you that you're developing yourself. And the number two is that all of these places, right, list the important things in what you did before, the attempt you made to make that endeavor a success, right? List the lessons that you learned, list the most important things in those places. Do not you lost it already, you lost it. So don't focus on what you lost, right? Focus on what was learned, focus on what you learned. Those lessons are your competitive advantage, those lessons are the advantages that you have when you want to restart. And the third thing, design another version. Design the next version. So ask yourself, if you were to start again today with everything that you know now, with everything that you've learned, what would you do differently? So then commit to taking one action at a time towards that version this week. Then this is where your movement begins to equate to progress. Every entrepreneur deserves the best. Entrepreneurship is not just reserved to people who never fail. Entrepreneurship is not just reserved to people who have it all, right? It belongs to people who does not stop learning. Every time, everywhere you are is an opportunity for you to develop yourself, to learn, and all. The businesses that shape industry, that shape sectors, are not ones that just came at once. They rebuild, they are rebuilders, right? They are not simply builders. Entrepreneurs that are successful, they are not just builders, they are rebuilders. They reiterate, right? They know that every ending, there is certain possibilities of a stronger ending, right, than the beginning. So the mindset changes everything, that you can start again. You don't need to sink yourself, you don't need to beat yourself up based on the failure that you had in the past. You can always start again, and that's why we are here, right? I hope this helps you. And you can follow on LinkedIn, on Instagram, the Cornelius Adeoyin official, on TikTok, everywhere, Twitter, the Cornelius Adeoyin official, right? And follow up on the posts, the reels, the shorts, and everything concerning this mindset for this week. And I hope that you have a very great week and learning time. So don't forget, I am Cornelius Adeoyin, and I'm on a journey of empowering the world through faith, tech, leadership, and entrepreneurship. This is not just learning, this is you becoming. And there's only one end to our journey. You know it. Greatness, greatness, greatness. Have a great time.